If he wants to box, we'll box. And if he wants to brawl, we'll brawl. So, Tonito Bonera, I believe, made that quote. And this is Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl 2. Yes, guys, some people apparently didn't know that they made a second one. And they did. And it came out in November. And it's actually pretty good, to be honest. So, you know, totally getting mixed up here. Fairplay Labs came back with this game, and they learned quite a bit from the first game. So there's better graphics, more detailed backgrounds, and it just keeps everything super colorful, and it's actually really lush. Huge leap over the first game. Doesn't feel like a budget game anymore. It feels like they actually had a decent budget. Obviously it's not going to be 100% like Smash Ultimate with whatever they spend to make the Smash games these days, 300 million, whatever. So the game with a significantly boosted budget, like, it really does feel like a potential contender now with Smash Brothers in at least the same sort of league. Characters now have voice quips that they didn't have in the first game. That was like the biggest thing that people are like, hey, these guys are all mute. Like, what's the point of having characters if you don't have any of the sounds, any of the voices that are famous that made these characters who they are? I mean, one thing to see them, it's another thing to hear them. And, you know, they're not just mute punching bags that grunt heavy like in the first game. So there are far more characters overall. There's 25 characters with 26 stages and 4 DLC characters that are coming. 2 have gotten released so far. 2 more are coming sometime this year. And you know, there's the usual modes of arcade battle that we're all used to. And also, like, there's a popping slime balloons, which is pretty much Nickelodeon's version of Break the Targets from the original Smash Brothers game. And whacking bots and a boss rush. Now the boss rush is kind of cool. It's a shame that Smash didn't do this. They probably could have with Melee. So the story mode is set up like a roguelike, so it actually does have a proper story. It's just not you fighting against like 5 or 6 other characters like the previous game. And you can also have these chosen unique abilities along the way. Now, while there is like a set structure for the story mode, it still feels like it's a very loose storyline that could be applied to any of the characters. I'm not sure if they all have like their own interactions, but like they're so minimized that it could apply to any one of the characters. The biggest change really is the slime mechanic, and when you hear about it, I think it came over from the kart racing game. It makes you wonder, like, why didn't they introduce this sooner? Because it really adds an extra depth to this game and makes this game different from any other game, even Smash Brothers. So your slime buildup, it can be used whenever you actually hit an opponent or you get hit by an opponent. It builds up. The slime mechanic meter builds up. So you can use it to cancel moves, you can use it to power up your attacks so they're faster and stronger, or you can cancel momentum. If you've been launched by, say, the character you're facing is bigger, heavier than you, and so can knock you back further, this can prevent you from flying off the stage. And with it maxed out, you can do the typical super move, which is super common in fighting games everywhere, but 10, 15 or so years ago it wasn't. It was novel. Now it's pretty much standard. So pretty much once we've been spoiled by Nintendo's Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, any other party beat 'em up 2D fighter like this one, just you're gonna compare it to the last Smash Bros. Game or to any other previous Smash Bros. Game, because that is the de facto game in the 2D sort of realm, party game, beat 'em up platformer realm, to compare it to. So with that said, like, the character selection in this game, they've really improved it. It's a step forward in some ways and a step backward in other ways, unfortunately. So they stepped forward with adding Squidward, which was like the first thing they announced. So everyone's like, okay, cool, we're gonna have lots of new characters that are going to be interesting, and hey, we don't have to worry about that. So there's Jimmy Neutron, there's El Tigre, Plankton, Nigel Thornberry, etc. But then we also lost 2 Ninja Turtles, so it's like now you can't have all 4 Ninja Turtles fighting at once. You can have, I think it's Raph and Dawn, and April O'Neil, and I don't think Splinter's in this. Catch me if I'm wrong with that, but I feel like the controls are significantly improved. They revamped, for what I've seen, all the movesets so that the characters actually make sense now. They're not just random moves flung at characters, and they're not even moves. Like some of the moves in the first game, they were just like, what the heck is this move? Like, is this a side kick, or is this like a side drop, or like whatever? Like, it felt unfinished because the characters just did not have suitable moves. So yeah, they make far more sense than the original game's designs, and after criticism they added a campaign mode, which is a story mode, and there's a story, but as I say, it's kind of generic. Few characters, then there's a boss. I think there's a mid-boss. I'm not sure if it's for all of them as well, but like a lot of the bosses sort of repeat, but I think they have a few that are sort of themed towards certain characters, but other than that, it's like pretty generic. So overall the game is good, but it's not great. Let's take away with that. It's a huge improvement of the first one, which I felt they had like very small budget and did what they could with what they had. The music is good, just kind of repetitive. I thought the music in the first game was good. It wasn't amazing, it didn't blow you away. It's not Smash Brothers quality, of course. And the online play is good with solid net code. I haven't heard of any net drops unlike Street Fighter's old games and other stuff. So anyways, the big con is some popular characters were removed from the first game. So we lost Leonardo and Michelangelo, which were the ones I noticed right away. I thought, hey, they're going to add these guys back, right? And it doesn't look like it right now. Toph, Hugh, Cat Dog, Lincoln Loud, and then there's Powdered Toast Man, which I liked, even though apparently it wasn't popular, and Obelina. And that upset a lot of people, and I'm sure that hurt their sales too. So the characters ultimately are very slow in coming out. It's May, game came out in November, and we have Mr. Krabs and Zuko. So 2 characters. Maybe I've been spoiled, maybe we've all been spoiled with just the release rate of characters, but this just seems super slow to me. I hadn't even thought of this game for a while there, and then I thought, hey, I finally want to add this game and go over it, see how it is now, and just not much has changed for like 6 months or whatever that is. Yeah, I guess it's pretty much 6 months now. Like 2 characters. Oh, okay. So, and I felt like this was the way with the first game. Like they didn't patch it, they didn't adapt the game with the players, and that's why like the players sort of dropped off. It's like, whatever, I'll go play Tekken 7 or something. So yeah, and even though we have these 2 characters and they're popular and they were hyped, and like we've known about them for months, which kind of kills the hype too, the game just seems to have lost its momentum, I feel. There's just so many amazing fighting games getting DLC. There's Tekken 8, Street Fighter 6, the latest Grand Blue, that it just makes it hard for this game to compete either directly or indirectly. Obviously they're saving Rocksteady and Row for last already, knowing like that's probably the characters everyone wants, the Ninja Turtles character and the other Avatar character. So just if you're not like already super into this game, you're not going to wait around for the DLC, and then you're not going to buy the game if you're like, these aren't the characters I wanted. So the online mode apparently is largely abandoned, which is unfortunate. If you want to get matches, it's best to go through the Discord groups and so you'll find someone. You might be lucky to find someone in 10 or 15 seconds depending on the time of the day, but it might be longer. The game still goes for $50, which is kind of wild and expensive. I managed to get it for like 25 or 30 months ago. Literally, like, I think it was 2 weeks after it came out, which is a shock. But that's what I feel like it's worth. It's not really worth the full 50 plus tax. And then there's a whole bundle that you can buy with all the DLC for like almost $100, which really feels like a money grab for Nickelodeon or whoever decided this. So yeah, just I feel like this game is just collecting dust because the characters I wanted, you know, I like Rocksteady, but the other characters I didn't grow up with, so it's like whatever. I'll play something else. So despite all the improvements, the high price and the lack of new content has really hurt this game. And looking back, it's not a big surprise. I kind of thought at the time, okay, is that it? Are they only releasing 2 to 4 characters the next year? Like, no stages, nothing else, no. So like, there's nothing to really keep this game afloat. Unfortunately, with minor patches, with no changes to the characters themselves, it looks better, it moves better, it plays better. There's more modes, new characters, and they all have the voices. But there's just so much competition. I feel like Brawl 2 sort of like missed out the mark, just despite all these huge improvements. If you have an itch to scratch and you're tired of Smash, think about this game. It's worth, considering it at least. Plays like Smash with new characters and the novel mechanics with the slime mechanics. I would say it's the best Smash-like. Honestly, if you're tired of Smash Ultimate but you want something similar and you don't want something that's like going to be different, like Tekken with Tekken 8 or something, it's a solid 8 out of 10. That's why I feel it's kind of generous. It could be a 7.5 maybe. Just there's ping bugs apparently, which I didn't really experience, but like I had it crash on me at the start, and that's actually what turned me off from playing it shortly after it came out. And then there's like some characters that are top tier, and like there's really hard to beat them. And then if you're playing as the characters that are really obviously low tier, and yeah, like those low tier characters can't keep up with the top tier ones. And yeah, just with no nerfs or major changes coming to actual characters, it makes it frustrating for players that are trying to play this competitively or semi-competitively. And when there's certain characters that are heavily favored, and I feel like Shrek, just to put Shrek, the fighting game, in there, yes, that's also how it was designed. There was like 4 or 5 really good players in the Shrek fighting game that was like Power Stone meets Shrek, and this game sort of reminds me a bit. Like there's certain characters that are just so overpowered compared to others. So the takeaway pretty much is it's a fun game for casual gaming. Just don't expect Smash Melee or Smash Ultimate levels of refinement. Like, it just reminds me of the Nickelodeon Kart Racer series. It's well polished to be entertaining enough, and a fun distraction. But at the same time, like, it's not polished enough to replace like the best of the best platformer fighting games, so like Smash Brothers. So hopefully we see a Brawl 3, hopefully it's like 50 plus characters instead of 25. 25 is okay, but we've been spoiled by some other games in this. So it would be a true contender to Smash Brothers Throne if they really tried to go all out and release this, Nickelodeon Brawl Ultimate Edition, or Ultimate Brawl Edition. So with that said, keep on brawling, enjoy what's there. You can at least beat Garfield. So that's, can't complain about that. Ciao.